Hi everyone, and welcome to the session of today. Today is a class where we visit chapter 6, and within chapter 6 we're introduced to system implementation, which happens to be a broad concept that englobes a whole other small aspects within it that make up the chapter for today. So within the system implementation, the first slide that we're going to look at talks about Windows pre-installation. What does Windows pre-installation what is it all about? So it's basically telling us about talking to us about the things that we need to do in order to prepare our system to receive the Windows operating system. This happens to be the case study here is the Windows operating system because it's the most widely distributed and the most used operating system out there in the market. Nevertheless, we should be looking at other concepts within this module as we proceed in the other slides. So the first and foremost thing that you need to do here when you need to install a Windows operating system is to verify that the system that you're trying to install that operating system on is compatible with the version of the operating system that you're trying to install. So after making sure that particular machine, the system is compatible with the operating system, what you do next is determine what kind of installation you're going to be performing on that computer. So some of the types of installation, some of the various types of installation that we carry out on a Windows operating system, on PCs in general that operate on the Windows operating system, are clean installation, upgrade installation, and repair installation. You might hear of this and it might sound scary to you, but not to worry. These whole concepts are explained in the following slides. So you might want to know what a clean installation is. As from the text, right, we get that it's an installation that is performed on an existing or new system that installs a fresh instance of an operating system with default settings and override any existing data on the storage device. It is also known as custom install. What is this trying to tell us? This is just trying to let us know that when we talk about clean install, it is that type of Windows installation whereby we wipe off every data that was found previously on the storage device in order to put in a completely new Windows operating system with new settings and every piece of data that was previously stored there being wiped out completely. So the next type of installation that we have here is the upgrade installation. What is an upgrade installation all about? It is that type of installation whereby you conserve the present data and the settings of the current operating system and simply bring in a new operating system, like upgrading yourself from a particular state to another while keeping your previous features. So you don't throw away all the features that you had previously, but you simply have additional features that come as the result of the upgrade or the current operating system that you do install. Don't worry, we are going to explain this whole concept a lot more in details as we proceed into the chapter. Last but not the least, we also have a repair installation. All right, to even explain this, I want to take you back to when the operating system have issues. The operating system just wakes up and starts throwing a lot of errors, saying that some files are missing, some directories are not present, and things like that. What you do is you launch a repair installation in order to repair the current OS build and replace those files that are being missing or that are damaged. So for some reasons, you might be attacked by viruses or just a normal scenario where you happen to lose all the files or some of your key system files without which your operating system can no longer function. So you find yourself in a scenario where you need to perform a repair installation in order to replace these missing files. So in the pre-installation, the next thing we talk about here is the pre-installation planning, the various steps that you're supposed to follow when you're already ready to install the operating system. So when you decide to do a clean installation, It is simply because it is that scenario where you are completely wiping the existing operating system. You clean it completely. You are going to overwrite all the data that is existing and overwrite every configuration. When we talk about configuration, we mean things like settings. If you had set your camera to the saturation to 100, it's going to wipe everything off. If you have set your brightness to 50%, all the configuration, everything that you have set up previously within that current operating system is being wiped off during a clean installation, and everything comes back afresh. We commonly say that we flash our devices or we reset them, we hard reset and things like, or we reset to factory settings. Those are some of the terms that we use to refer to that kind of a scenario. So the clean installation is going to reset your device to factory settings and then install a new operating system on it. As of the next installation type, which is the upgrade installation, you're simply going to install the operating system or on top of the current Windows operating system that is existing. All your data that you have will be preserved. The settings that you have as well will all be preserved, and the applications that you were using previously will be maintained. I just want to make you quickly understand that it's not in all cases that you'll be maintaining all the applications, okay? Because some operating systems bring forth updates that attempt to like set a higher standard for applications to operate on. So it leaves us with a scenario where an application that was in the previous version might not function as well as it used to on this current upgrade. So some upgrades might even be set to completely eliminate these existing applications, but nevertheless, you're still going to be left with the folder that stores all your user data, so much so that you can migrate or export this data into another system that has that keeps running that version of the software without any problem. As of the repair installation also, we just do it on top of the existing OS, right? We do that on top of the existing operating system. Just so you know, in case you haven't realized, when we talk about OS, we simply mean that it's an acronym that stands for operating system. It's just a short way for us to say operating system. So what we're trying to say here is that the repair installation just installs a new build file, new build of the OS files. So every OS file that used to be there, just the OS files, because the user data is separated from the OS files. OS files, like these are the key documents or the key folders that are only concerned with the operating system. So when you find yourself doing a repair installation, it simply replaces those files that have nothing to do with your personal data. What actually makes a computer belong to a person is the data that it stores. The data that it stores with respect to the data that the person has put inside that computer. So other than that, the operating system has its own files, which are all independent from the user data. So when you do a repair installation as well, you do preserve all your applications. Remember, it is just like a patch. It is simply meant to repair something that was damaged with hope of having it whole again. So I'll run you through the steps that you need to follow when you're preparing to install an operating system. The first things first, we said that you have to verify your system's compatibility. By system compatibility, we mean that the ability of your current system to take that operating system without any problem. So I'm going to talk to you about Windows 11. Windows 11 has some levels of, let me say, minimum requirements. What does this mean? This means that your computer, your hardware needs to have a certain standard before it is able to host Windows 11. Say, for example, you must have at least 4 GB of RAM. You must have a processor of a particular type of capacity. You must have TPM enabled virtualization, and lots of other features that are going to be given to you by the Windows utility that helps you to verify system compatibility. So this is not something that you need to worry about. There is a utility on the Microsoft website that permits you to verify if your your system is compatible with the type of operating system that you're trying to install. Okay, just so we continue, does anyone have a question? Any questions, please? Okay, we don't have any questions so far. That being said, Mazuli seems to have issues with her network. Mazuli, do you have issues with your network? Your mic is mute in case you're trying to say something.
Yes, I have issues with the network.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so that being said, the first step is here is to verify your system compatibility. So after your verified system compatibility, the next thing you have to do is back up your existing data. So in case you are trying to like do a clean install, irrespective of whether it's a clean install or it's an upgrade installation, you have to make sure that you've backed up your existing data. In the world of IT, nothing is sure at 100%. So in order to avoid taking some kind of risk, you need to always make sure that for everything that you do, you have a backup, okay? So you're not having a backup because you're scared. It's just that it's because the thing is not going to work. It's just to make sure that you have supplementary security measures or extra security measures put in place to prevent loss of data, accidental loss of data. Because this whole scenario, we're mostly talking about accidents, okay? So if you're doing an upgrade, you expect your data to be present and then the operating system changes. But what if something comes up and then your whole data tends to get missing within the process? We never know. So it is always advisable for you to do a backup of your existing data, irrespective of whether you're doing a clean installation, a backup installation, or a repair installation. You have to prepare your media and the product key. The media is the OS file, like we refer to it as the ISO file. Let me just write this down. We refer to it as the ISO file. Okay, so I'm just going to come over here and write, we call it ISO file. So sorry for the handwriting. The ISO file is the file that contains the operating system. Is a file that has the operating system that you use to install in the on the Windows computers. It is it is also referred to as the disk image. Okay, so ISO stands for disk image, and it is the standard that is used to install operating systems on Windows computers. So when we say that you have to get your media and your product key ready, it means that you should have a license prepared in case you're installing the Windows operating system. You should have prepared yourself a license to activate the product, and you should have downloaded the ISO from the manufacturer's website. In this case, we're talking about the Windows operating system. So you do download the ISO file from the source. Avoid downloading the operating system from third parties. Make sure you get the operating system from the source in order to make sure that you have an operating system that is threat-free, an operating system that does not have any malware in it. So next thing you have to do is to gather your software and hardware. What are the components, what are the various things that you would like to be using alongside your operating system? What are those things that you would like to install on your operating system? Get all these softwares and make them ready for you to transfer directly into the system when it is ready. Last but not the least, you should prepare third-party media and drivers. What do we mean by third-party media and drivers? We're simply talking about the softwares that will permit for your operating system to communicate with all the hardwares that it has around. As we are talking right now, I'm using the camera, I'm using microphone, I'm using a mouse, a keyboard, and other devices. Well, These devices will not be able to communicate with my operating system if there was not a means for them to understand each other. My computer understands zeros and ones, but I am using a mouse that has laser under it that you use it to scroll. How does the computer understand that this movement to the left means this or the movement to the right means this? Or what happens is that the mouse manufacturer has provided a documentation. This documentation is digital that will permit your computer to understand the movement that is being carried out by these devices. So you find yourself now in a scenario where there's an extra software which is installed on the computer that is going to tell it how to operate or how to communicate with the various hardwares. So then we refer to those as drivers. You have to prepare your third-party media and drivers. I want to believe that is understood. So summarily, in this module, we have talked about the various types of installations. We did talk about clean install. Sorry. We did talk about clean install. We talked about upgrade install, repair install, and other things that you need to do in order to prepare your PC for Windows for the Windows operating system. So as we said previously, every time you carry out, we do explain these things within the class, within the forum. You're expected to perform some of these actions physically within the LabSim platform. So that being said, we actually move now to the scenario where we do Windows installation. Now, one thing I want to ask you guys is this. Do you know about after covering the Windows pre-installation, we are not expecting ourselves.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So please, I wanted to know upgrade installation.
Yes.
It's a system which comes and add up on the system that's already there. It's just an upgrade. Is it
okay? Let me take this scenario. Excuse me. Okay. Let me take this scenario. You use Windows 10, okay? You use Windows 10 Professional. And Windows 11 comes out. You need to use Windows 11. You need to upgrade to Windows 11, but you don't want to use the data, all the applications, the files, the videos, the music that you had in Windows 10. You don't want to lose them, but at the same time, you want to benefit from the services that are offered in the Windows 11 operating system, right? So instead of completely wiping the Windows 10 operating system that is present in your computer, then installing the Windows 11 operating system, you can make use of the compatibility testing tool that is going to, first of all, make sure that your hardware can run Windows 11. Then rather than doing a clean installation, you perform an upgrade installation. It is going to preserve, or you're actually going to install as if you wanted to install a new operating system. But the only difference is that with the upgrade installation is that you're going to be installing it on top of the existing Windows 10 operating system. It is going to shift all the files that belong to Windows 10 and replace it with its own files, but all the user data that was in that computer is kept the same. Nothing is being affected. Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir, you've answered. But what I wanted to know is, okay, if someone can have an upgrade and not lose his data, right? Why would he then choose to have a clean install?
You will choose to have a clean install if the operating system that you're moving on is not compatible with an upgrade is not accepted from that operating system to the next higher version. Let me explain. When we were looking at a chapter not very far behind, we talked about the various editions of the Windows operating system. I think we talked about the Home Edition, the Pro Edition, the Enterprise Editions. We did talk about that, right? Unmute yourself, please.
Yes,
Were
sir.
you present when we talked about the various editions of the Windows operating system?
No, unfortunately, I wasn't.
All right, I see where it's coming from. So you have to understand that when you are moving, you cannot move from a home edition of an operating system and upgrade to a professional edition of another operating system. What am I trying to say? If you have Windows 11 Pro and you need to install it on your computer that is currently running Windows 10 Home, that's not going to work. You only need a clean install. Reason being that you cannot move from a home edition to a pro edition. Is that making sense to you?
Not really, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, what about we say that you rephrase your question again? Let's see if you can tackle it from another angle.
What I wanted to know is, normally everyone will want to keep his data.
Yes.
So why then, if you can upgrade, will you choose to instead make a clean install, which will remove your old data, wipe out everything, and just come back afresh? Why then?
Some people just want to start afresh for no good reason. Some people just want to start back afresh, while others don't have very much of a choice because the previous version of the Windows operating system that they were using was a home edition, and where they are trying to move to is a pro edition. I don't know if you're understanding. The home edition of Windows operating system has a set of features that is limited as compared to the pro edition of the Windows operating system. We have the home, the pro, and the enterprise editions. So you cannot move. Just listen to this. It is not possible for you to move from a home edition to a pro edition. I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense.
It's making sense.
Okay. Given that you cannot, now that we have established a base and you've understood that one cannot move from a home edition to a pro edition, you now have to get that the reason why someone will carry out a clean install, there are two scenarios. Let me say three scenarios. One, the computer is brand new. You don't have any personal data inside. You do a clean install to make sure that every file is being put in place. That's the first scenario where the computer is brand new. Second scenario, you are using another version of the Windows operating system on your previous computer, like Windows 10 Home. You cannot upgrade to a pro edition of the Windows 11, but that's what you want to use. Given that I want to use Windows 11 Pro, but I was using Windows 10 Home, I cannot do an upgrade. I am forced to do a clean installation, which means I must wipe the Windows 10 Home first, and then I install Windows 11 Pro. Do you understand?
I understand. So that means that cases where you can't do an upgrade, you just have to make a clean install. Like you don't have any choice.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. You don't have any choice. And then some people just want to start afresh. That's the third scenario. There might be other scenarios that I'm not exploring, but as of now, I know that there are two main scenarios, okay, that we just discussed. And most of the time, people just want to wipe the data and just start afresh. Some people do it by mistake, as I was saying that the other scenarios that we don't explore. Some people do it by mistake. They think they are doing the right thing, then out of a sudden, they have wiped the data. So that's not our focus for now. We're just going to look at the next model that we have. Do you have any other question before we continue?
No, sir.
Okay. So going through the RAID configuration, because this thing is chronological, I was really insisted on you people covering the RAID module. The reason being that we will need to use that knowledge and apply it in this chapter. Okay, we need to apply the knowledge of RAID configuration in this chapter. So I needed you to be able to understand and actually carry out all those labs So much so that when we are talking about the things and the various way we implement them here, it should not be new to you in any way. That being said, we are going to proceed to the next slide here. Now we are looking at Windows installation actually. So within Windows installation, the skills that you're going to get here is how to prepare a disk for installation, how you even create a bootable media. We're going to talk about what a bootable media is, how you configure a workstation to boot from a network, and how you install a workstation image using PXE. PXE is an acronym that stands for PXE, that stands for pre-execution, pre-booting execution environment. Pre-booting execution environment. It's a means of installing an operating system, which is going to be explained in the next slides. I don't want to break the ice. You guys might lose the taste of it. So yeah, Mazule, just before you came, I was saying that the reason I wanted you guys to cover 5.4 was that you will need the knowledge from that particular chapter in order to proceed, in order to understand more fluently what is happening in these upcoming chapters. So we have in chapter 6 here, there is a scenario where we are going to be talking and just bringing in the RAID configurations that you, assuming that you have already covered them and you understand how they function. So that being said, let's continue. So we're going to talk of the various places where you can install the Windows operating system, the various places where you can store this operating system, and the relative advantages and disadvantages or the characteristics that are associated to this particular storage media. First is an internal hard disk drive. We know that the hard disk drive HDD is relatively inexpensive as compared to other types of storage media. It provides ample storage. That is an advantage, which means the storage is kind of much as compared to other storage media, but it is relatively inexpensive. And we see that it has good performance. So it has good stable performance and it can last for a very long time. The next storage location that we have is a solid state drive or SSDs. It has no moving parts. It is fast, but unfortunately more expensive as compared to the counterpart, HDD. There are also hot swappable drives that are specialized on motherboards, which are relatively more expensive. There are these motherboards that are already having chips within them that permits us to have our drives plugged in and plugged out on the go. The next storage location that we're looking at here is an external hard disk drive, external HDD. It is inexpensive as well because it is an HDD. It provides ample storage for the same reason. It is portable, but the problem here is it is being limited by the USB interface. The only interface through which you can connect your external hard disk drive is through the USB interface. I want to believe that we talked previously about the eSATA P, the SATA P, the eSATA technologies. You might be thinking that, oh, but why do we say limited to USB, whereas we have all those other standards and technologies? Well, the reason being that all of those standards are outdated. They are outdated, okay? So due to standardization, where we want to create a uniform environment where a particular connection media is able to operate across all devices, the USB standard came along to overtake all these other standards. So you find yourself using USB for a microphone, using USB for a mouse, using USB for a keyboard, USB to charge your phone, and for a whole lot of other things. We use the USB standard. So I hope I'm not boring with what I'm saying. I hope what I'm saying is not boring. Someone is nodding their head.
Not at all. I'm just
okay. Another storage media. Okay, another storage media that we have. Mazule, I want to believe that you're with us.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So another storage location that we have here is external flash drives. So it is also very inexpensive. It is portable, but though it has a slower performance, it is portable, though has a slower performance as compared to hard disk drives. And it is also limited to the USB interface. So flash drives that we know, I don't have, yeah. You know what a flash drive is, right? So it is limited to this USB interface. That being said, we are now going to proceed to the various things that you set up inside your computer when you start installation. We're not going to go too deep into them, but these are the things that you're going to encounter. I would have loved for us to be able to install an operating system actually, but all that means, I mean, like all together, but that cannot happen because you guys are still kind of behind with the labs. It would have been great to do the installation physically, in as much as we also have the platform that have simulated all those resources for us in order to where we can perform all this installation on. So when you start installing the Windows operating system, you have to choose your country or the region where you find yourself. The keyboard layout, depending on the region also that you find yourself, and the language or technology that you find yourself well suited with. We have the AZERTY, the QWERTY, the QWERTY, and the other configurations or layouts with respect to the geographical location where you find yourself and the language you speak best. You also have to choose whether you need to get the latest updates, and then you set up your device name. All of these are found in individual stages that you encounter while installing the operating system. So when you are installing the operating system, you can configure a RAID, you can perform a RAID configuration to receive this OS, right? Where you create an array and put in several disks inside them, store and connect several storage devices that will create a single interface to receive the operating system that gives you the advantages that the features that fall in line with your company's objectives or your personal motivation. First things first, we're looking at the various installation methods of the Windows operating system. When you're trying to install an operating system, the first thing you have to know that there are several mediums through which you can use to install this thing. You can use an optical disc or a DVD, in as much as you could use a flash drive. But these days, I can say that CDs are like archaic. They're like out of fashion. Optical discs, right? So the people that install operating systems with CD, the optical disc are very few. Reason being that a lot of computers that come up these days are limited to the USB interface. A lot, even what I even say the USB interface, and I don't even precise. A lot of the updated computers that come, they don't even have USB Type A. A lot of them have just the Type C interface. So the optical drive slot has really limited the usage of this of optical disc or DVD, CD, and other types of disc in general. So now, one thing I want you to know is you can install an operating system using an optical disc or a USB drive. So you see that on the image that is right in front of you, when you want to choose which kind of media you want to use using the Windows Media Creation tool, there is actually a tool found on the Microsoft website that is called the Media Creation tool. What that software does is that it permits you to directly download the operating system from the internet and then burn it to the storage media that you want to use to perform booting operations. What does booting mean? Booting, burning onto a key is the process of writing a particular disk image onto that key, and then booting is the process of starting the computer and then running that file that is stored inside the boot media. Am I making sense here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. So you have to when you're done using the Windows, the media access tool, the media creation tool, you choose basically which interface you want to use to write your to prepare your boot media, which is either the USB flash drive or the ISO file. The ISO file is one that you're going to burn it on a DVD. You burn it on a DVD later. So there's also another type of installation which is referred to as the PXE boot. Okay, it's called the PXE boot. What is PXE boot? You see here that on this slide, they tell us how you configure that. You can configure the boot order, which means you configure what order your computer is supposed to start from. When your computer is booting stands for turning on, okay? Turning on and entering the operating system. When your computer starts turning on, there are a series of steps that it follows. When we say that you go and configure boot order, it's simply giving you the opportunity to reorganize those steps into a particular way that suits you. Okay, which means that if you plug in an external hard drive, a CD drive, a flash drive, and maybe any other storage media, you can go into your computer's BIOS by using any of these access keys. The most common access keys is F12, F11, F12, delete, exit. You even have F2 and F5, whereby as soon as your computer starts turning on, when you put off your computer and as soon as it starts turning on, you press any of these access keys and it's going to open your computer's BIOS. Not to worry, you're going to be taught how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to be taught how to do that. So when you enter the computer BIOS, you can switch to the boot media. You can switch to the boot media section, whereby you're going to choose the boot order, which means you either decide whether you want this operating system, where you want your computer to start turning on by going to the USB to the flash drive first, then the CD to the hard disk drive, or any other order that you choose. So that's why we refer to as editing or working on the boot order of a PC. So the next thing here is, irrespective of you being able to install your operating system from a CD or a flash drive, it is also possible for you to install from the network. What do I mean by a network? Within a company setting, there's generally a server. A server is simply a bunch or an array of hard disk drives that are configured in such a way that data is being stored in a central location and accessed as well from that central location. This means that the information that you store at this central location can be accessed by any computer within the building, as long as it is connected to the company network or to the LAN, local area network. I think you should also know about WLAN. When you see WLAN, please, who can tell me what is the meaning of WLAN? W-L-N-A. W-L-A-N. Who knows the meaning of WLAN? Just raise your hand if you know what WLAN is. Okay, this I need us to give the sorry. We need to get the meaning of these acronyms before we continue. We need to use them in this module, and I don't want a scenario where we're talking about things that we don't really master. So what is WLAN in general? What does WLAN stand for? It's an acronym. Anybody knows? Does anybody know? Mazule, do you know the meaning of LAN? Yes, Mr. Etienne, please help us.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Well, I just wanted to test my knowledge. WLAN stands for Wireless Local area network that's connecting two devices wirelessly over a network. Like you can take a station where you are connecting your devices, so in your office using maybe a Wi-Fi box and stuff. So wireless local area network.
Thank you very much for that contribution. I just want to add to what he said, and it must not necessarily be two devices, okay? It is just the same way you implement LAN. Mazule said she wanted to, what's the meaning of LAN, Mazule? Mazule, you seem to have network issues. What's the meaning of LAN?
Local area network.
Okay. So as we were saying,
Local area network.
yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, LAN is effectively local area network. But one thing I just want you to know is that as we talk about local area network, it is generally the wire type, the one that is connected physically using cable, okay? But when we now move to the use of Wi-Fi technology to interconnect devices or computers within the company setting, that is the wireless local area network. It is simply implementing wireless technology in connecting devices locally. So you can have the AC connected to the Wi-Fi, the cameras connected to the Wi-Fi, the TV, computers, and actually sharing files among themselves. All right, one of each all of these accessing each other without any problem. But the only trouble here is going to be that they cannot access the internet. That's why we refer to them as a local area network. They cannot access the internet. Really, that's the reason we refer to them as a wireless local area network. If you need to access the internet, you then need to implement a router that is going to connect your local area network to another network. That other network is the internet. Does that make sense, guys? So having discussed about what WLAN is and LAN, I want us to talk about what the PXE is. What is PXE? Please don't Google search. Please don't Google search. Please. Mazule, please don't Google search.
My phone is far away from me.
What do you think is PXE? Yes, PXE. Okay, somebody put it in the chat. Pre-booting execution environment. Nafisa, should I be worried? Should I be worried about Google? Okay, nice. Your mic is mute. You're talking ever since. I cannot hear you. That's fine. It doesn't really matter.
Sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter that you Google or not. It's just that you should be able to retain the knowledge. So PXE is a pre-boot execution environment, and it is an environment that is set up. Oh, is that system where you install an operating system through a network, right? Like when the network cable of a company or from the company server is plugged into your machine, they configure a booting environment within that network, so much so that.
So sorry, I didn't hear you like few seconds ago. I wasn't hearing. I'm sorry.
Okay, you didn't hear me a few seconds ago. What part did you not hear? What from where did you end? Where did you stop hearing?
Pre-booting environment is a system where when you are about cable.
Yeah. Let me take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
Assuming a computer is connected to a local area network, either via cable or wirelessly. It is possible for the IT technician to set up a disk image, like an operating system image on the server, and then set up also a pre-boot execution environment, so much so that every single computer that is connected to that network can install the operating system company server and install it on their machine using the network. I don't know, something is not straight. Something is not straight. Give me a second, please. Okay, so as we were saying, right? PXE, as we generally refer to as we generally pronounce, it is written PXE, but pronounced PXE. And it is simply a set of standards, right, that enables a computer to load an operating system from a network. What does this mean? It means that the operating system is being kept in a server, and because you're connected to that server, generally, let's say a company server, you should be able to load that operating system and install it on your PC over the company's network. It could be wirelessly or wired using so if it is wired, it is via Ethernet, and if it is wireless, it should be via Wi-Fi. Does that make sense? I don't know if you guys have ever interacted with a server environment where data is being stored in a central location, and then you access it from a remote location, but over the same network. Like you're in the other room, I'm in this room. We connect both to the same Wi-Fi network, and I can access files that are inside your computer. And same thing, you could also access files inside my computer. Do you guys know that's possible?
No.
Mazule, do you know that's possible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is basically a peer-to-peer communication, but with the topology, like such as the star topology. Let me just Mazule, please, I want you to take over on that. I want you to create to work on a star topology. Draw a star topology for us. So we're just simply going to switch real quick to a whiteboard. I'm going to share a whiteboard, and then you take control of my computer and draw a star topology. Or should I do it? Take control of my PC. Or you could as well tell me what to do, and I'll do it so you can go faster. You can tell me what to do. All right. Draw a star topology. Make sure all the labelings are correct. This is just in an attempt, Nafisa, this is just in an attempt for you to understand better how the whole PXE environment works. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So while she's drawing, could I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand still the PXE, how PXE works. Okay. Could we say that as we are connected on Zoom, we could, in this scenario, we could consider maybe Zoom as the PXE configuration. Then now where we can share each other's screen and work on each other's machine. Is it the same system, like we can share files or share our information, but using Zoom as a platform? Could it be like PXE? Does it make sense?
Do you remember do you remember that when we save your data to the cloud, when we save this recording to the cloud, everybody can access this recording, right? Irrespective of where you find yourself in the world.
Yes.
Yes. Where do you think the recording is being stored? What do you think the recording is stored?
I don't know.
The recording is being stored in the cloud. When we say cloud, it's just because the location is not physical. It is a remote location, but it is stored in a server somewhere. Mazude, the reason I wipe that is because I want to implement a wireless connection. I hope you don't mind me wiping your
No,
thing.
sir.
Okay. I want to show that it is connected. Oh. Sorry, guys. Sorry. So this other computer here is connected via Wi-Fi. But all of them fall within, they are all found within the same network. All of this here makes up a LAN. Do you understand? This whole connection, Nafisa, please unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the whole interconnection of devices here make up a LAN. This one that you see here, is a server. A server is simply a central computer that stores data, okay? Instead of bringing the Windows operating system, the ISO file, and installing that ISO on this computer, plugging a USB key and installing here, removing that USB key, plugging it here, and installing it here too. What can be done is that a single file can be put inside the server. And then when you are now configuring the boot order, inside this PC, you will now make sure that you enable connectivity. You go and choose the PXE boot, which means that the computer is going to load the operating system from the server which it is connected to, instead of a local file or downloading the file again over from the internet. I don't know if it makes sense. So all these computers are going to call this single image. All these computers, they will call this single image. All of them. They are all going to call that single image from the central computer. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Do you understand?
Please. Please,
What is not?
I'm sorry, there was a little bit of noise around me. I really couldn't hear. But if I understand well, you said instead of taking one information and putting in a flash and having to install it one by one. We just put it in the server. And when configuring it, you connect to the server and you can get the image.
Yes, everybody is going to get that data from a centralized location. Do you know about network topologies?
Yes, sir.
You don't know about network topologies? Okay. Mazule, I believe you know about network topologies.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you mind briefing her after the class? Do you mind?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you guys can communicate after the class and she will talk to you about network topologies. If we try to talk about that, it's going to take a lot of our time.
Thank you, Nazul.
All right. Okay, so that brings us to this scenario where, remember, we wrote down VLAN, we wrote LAN, PXE, and WinPE. What is WinPE? The one that you see here. What is this, guys? What is this? Can you tell me? What is that? Just try guessing. Just try guessing. You must not find it. It must not be right. Do you know what it is? WinPE. Well, let's yes, go ahead.
I'm just trying. Windows pre-booting execution.
You're on track. You're on track. You're on track. Go ahead. Say it again. Try again.
I'm sorry, that's all I have right now.
Well,
Windows.
you're on track, but the thing is, it is not pre-booting. It's simply pre-installation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It is Windows pre-installation environment. What is it all about? It is a minimal version. Listen to this. WinPE is a minimal version of the Windows operating system that is being loaded just to assist you to install the actual operating system. Does it make sense?
Please come again.
WinPE is a minimal version of the Windows operating system, which is being loaded just to provide you an interface through which you can use to install the actual Windows operating system. Don't listen to the grammar, understand the idea behind. You have the Windows operating system that you're trying to install. You have booted into a USB key, right? Into a flash drive, not so. You need to plug that flash drive and actually launch the installation of that operating system. The interface that will come up that will now permit you to be clicking that, yeah, I want to choose English, Japanese, whatever language you choose. That interface that comes up is referred to as the WinPE, Windows pre-installation environment. It is not the actual Windows operating system, but it is a small version of it that only gives you the features that are necessary for you to install the Windows operating system. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good to know. So let's look at disk imaging. Disk imaging is a concept that is related to the installation of an operating system on several computers by deploying that operating system one time. You know that, I think you all know that when you start installing an operating system, you have to accept some things, deny some, take some certain configurations. I think you know about that, right? Like we said earlier that you choose the language, the region, the keyboard layout, things like that. We did talk about that also. Yeah. Those are the responses that you need to put when you are installing the Windows operating system. But now, what if you now work in a company where there are 1,000 computers and then you are alone as an IT technician who needs to install the operating systems on all of these computers? Do you install that one by one? Do you do that? Well, generically, you go and install the operating system one by one, but when will you finish? You will finish in almost never. You finish in, like, it will take you a lot of time to finish. So what can be done is this. As the admin on the network, you can create what we call a response file, attach it to the administrative laptop and the operating system, then deploy the operating system. When you deploy this operating system and the response file is written in some, it is like you program the file to carry some specific responses. These responses are simply interactions that the computer is going to receive when it prompts like choose the language. The response file already have the response that you put there earlier. Let's say maybe choose the country or the region, the keyboard layout. The response files already provides that answer. So that's what you do, and then launch it over the network, and all these computers will receive the operating system at the same time. So this is just going to be, we are going to look here at some of the advantages of or the reasons why you should do such a thing. So what you have to do is that the reason you should even use this imaging is when you have mass deployment. As we just said, we have thousands of computers within the company, and we don't have the time to install one at a time for every single computer. And also you might have simultaneous installs. So all these installs are identical. You have to do the same thing on every computer, because if it's maybe one computer on this, you have to put this response on this computer, put the other response on another computer. That's where you have to do that manually. But if all of these computers need to have the same settings or the same configurations, that's when you can use disk imaging. So it is also best to implement where all those computers have the same hardware configuration or the same specific hardware. So if all of them have 4 gigs of RAM, all of them have 500 gigs of HDD, yeah, you can easily launch disk imaging. And it is also ideal for volume licenses, like an enterprise license. We're using the Windows operating system, and then we need to do the version of the operating system that you use is depending on what structure you are. If you're an individual who just does basic operations at home, you can use the home edition of the Windows operating system. But if you are a professional, like an engineer, an IT technician, you can use the pro version. Now, if you're a company, like a big enterprise, you can now use the enterprise version of the Windows operating system. By buying a volume license, you'll be able to launch activation for all these various machines all at the same time. If you look at this next slide, you see, right, that you would take the Windows operating from a base system. You're going to take the response file and attach it to the ISO file, and then deploy it now on the network. Then it is just going to continue. This is what the WinPE looks like. This is what the Windows pre-execution, pre-installation environment looks like. So all these fields where someone has to put the language they want to install the operating system on, the time format, the keyboard or the keyboard layout, you have to put all these responses manually. But when you use disk imaging, it permits you to create that response file that already have the responses that will be entering in all of these fields. So much so that as soon as you start installation, all of these steps are just being skipped simultaneously. Remember, when we're talking about the steps that you follow in installing, you choose the language, the keyboard layout, and the country or region where you find yourself. 2, you put in the license or the activation license for the Windows operating system that you have. So if you don't have a product license, you see that this place down here tells you that you can click on it and then continue installing the operating system without a license. you're going to put the license after to activate Windows, because a lot of features will be limited. A lot of features will be limited if you don't use the Windows license to install. The next place is where you choose the version of the Windows operating system that you want to install. I think you can see here Windows Home N. Let me annotate on this. I think you guys can see that we have here the Windows Home Edition. We have the Windows Home and a single language. We have the Windows 11 Education N, Windows 11 Pro. So you see that this Pro here is different from Home. Sorry, let me just cancel this and then use another color. This Pro, this Home Edition, these two, they are different from the Pro Edition. The education version is one that sits between the Home Edition and the Pro Edition. So basically, it just gives you features of the Pro version, while considering that you're somebody with who has just basic needs. So that is just a little explanation of the various interfaces that you're going to see as you start the Windows installation. So after choosing which version of the Windows operating system that you want, in this case, we choose Windows 11 Pro. The license you bought is for Windows 11 Pro. Next, you're going to look at what kind of installation you want. Do you want to do an upgrade install? You guys can see from the first one, it will tell you, do you want to do an upgrade install? There you're choosing whether you want to install Windows and keep your files, settings, and applications, or a custom install where you choose whether you want to wipe everything completely. So in this, the next place is where you choose which kind of disk you want to install that operating system on. All the storage media that are found on your computer will be shown on this list. If you plug an external drive, like a flash drive, an external hard drive, an internal hard drive, every storage media that you plug will be displayed here, and you will have the opportunity to select them and then press next. Next will permit you now to install that operating system on that particular drive that you have chosen. So as soon as you're done, it will just take a couple of minutes, depending on the processing speed of your computer. You will now take a couple of minutes for you to install that operating system. I would like to guide some of you on the actual installation of Windows operating system. I don't know how we are going to do that. I will have to definitely get a computer. I will need to get a computer that is not very much in use, or find somebody who needs to upgrade their operating system, then organize a meeting with you guys so that you see how I actually install that operating system on the computer. So after this, it is done. Next step, you just have to personalize. This is personalizing the computer in general. So here you see that you have to select whether you want to use a local account or use a Microsoft account to access the computer. That means are you setting it up for personal use or for work or network, work or school? You choose all of those on that particular, on the page that comes up. After you're asked to sign into your Microsoft account, you will have access to all the features of the Windows operating system, especially the security related features. If you connect to your Microsoft account, if you do that, you have access to a lot of features. Nevertheless, if you don't do, you can still continue. You can still continue by connecting with an offline account. There you create yourself a user account on the computer, which is local. There are other authorizations that you're supposed to agree on, like location. Do you want the operating system to get your location? Do you want to activate Find My Device? Where Find My Device, I think you all should already know what it is. It is that feature that permits you, the person, to be able to find your computer or your respective Windows device in case of theft or loss using the GPS feature. Diagnostic data and more. When we talk of diagnostic data, it's like the various things that you encounter when you're working with your device, the operations, the errors, the fault tolerance, or the fault occurrence, and all the other things that come up when installing or when working with the operating system, do you want this data to be sent to Microsoft so that they can analyze and work better, or do you want all of this to stay private? All of that depends on you. After you're done with that step, it's basically done. Your computer sets up for a couple of minutes and then shows you this interface where you sign in, and basically you're done with installing the Windows operating system. You're done. Done as done. Not to worry. You guys have the task also to complete the lab where you install the Windows operating system. Before we even have to do it, so that you guys can be working with me interactively, you have to complete that lab. So summarily, you have to choose the locations where you need to install the device, the type of installation that you can use. You can use USB installation or flash drive installation, the network or PXE installation, and other forms of installation such as the disk imaging and others. So we also overviewed the clean installation, the clean install. We overview what clean install is all about. So now that we have seen pre-installation, installation, we're now going to move to post-installation. What are the things that you want to do? How do you want your computer to behave after it has received the Windows operating system? Before we go to that, I just want us to take like 2 minutes to breathe and take a little small air. And for those who have questions, you can bring forth your questions so that we relax and while looking at them. I'm listening. I think you guys should really have a lot of questions. What questions do we have, guys? Your questions, please. Do we have questions? Or is everything understood? All right, since there are no questions, let me ask mine. Right? You guys will receive my questions. So, how many types of installation do we have? How many types of Windows installation do we have? And name them. How many types and name them? Yes, go. How many? I want the lady that just came to answer that question. Cynthia. She said somebody already said 3, so you have to figure out which are those 3 forms of Windows installation. What are they? What are those some of installations, guys?
Me, I know of 2. That is full frame installation and pocket installation.
Come again.
I said I know of 2 types of Windows installation. That is full frame installation and pocket installation. I don't know if I'm in the context.
If you don't mind, where did you get that information from?
Google.
From Google?
Yes, sure.
You just Googled it right now.
Yes.
Choose somebody to help you. Choose somebody to help you.
Mazule.
Mazule, she's asking for you to help her with the various types of Windows installations that we have.
Okay, so there are 3 types of Windows installation. The clean installation, repair installation, and upgrade installation.
And that's wonderful. So, as she said, Nabila, where is she, Cynthia? Did you hear what she said?
No, sir, I didn't get all.
You didn't get all. You were not. What are those? What are those? please listen to me. Before this class even begins, we always ask you guys to go to a stress-free environment that has no distraction. It is not commendable for you to be attending the class and people be popping up from everywhere to enter the video and distract a whole lot of people. That is not good at all. That is, if you are doing something and you're not able to follow the class, you just quit and then you get back into the class when you can continue. We don't want this. We don't want people popping up from everywhere and you're not even focusing, paying attention to what we're saying here. That doesn't make any sense. So we're just going to continue from there. Guys, where do we the various types of installation we just talked about them. So the methods of installation, we talked about a couple of them. What methods do we discuss about? Anfisa, please just tell us what you know. What methods of installation do we talk about?
We said we can install a new system using a CD disk or a flash drive.
Nabila, excuse me, Cynthia. Seems like you're not getting. You're going to be out of the meeting for some time. You're going to get back in when we decide. Okay. So yeah, guys, you can continue, please.
We can make an install using a flash drive, using a CD or wireless.
Okay. Wirelessly how?
Wirelessly, like when we're talking about LAN, when you were explaining about
So summarily, we're talking about network booting from a network. Yeah, that's PXE boot, PXE. Yeah.
But right now, the two I'm sure were CD and flash drive, using a flash drive and using CD.
Come again?
I say the ones I'm sure right now, my short answers are using a CD disk or a flash drive.
Okay, use a CD disk, use a flash drive, use a network boot, and yeah, basically that should be it. If you're omitting something else, it should be found somewhere within the video. Yeah, I think we can continue from here. So post installation. Post installation, the things that we do after we have installed the operating system. First things first, you have to make sure that you set the boot order to fit your installation. Okay, you set the boot order to suit your installation. That is organizing the boots. How would I say? Once you've installed the operating system, you don't want it to be in such a way that the next time you're trying to turn on your computer, it is still opening, but the WinPE or the WinPE. I believe you guys know what WinPE stands for already, right? You don't want your computer to go to the WinPE next time you try turning it on. So you have to set the boot order again as soon as you're done with the installation. This is to ensure that you're booting from the device or from the drive where your operating system is already installed. So that's one of the things that you do. And then you also, if you have Windows partition, you have partitioning to do. Partitioning is like separating or breaking down your hard drive into several modules. If you have partitions to do, you do that. And configuring whether you want BIOS or UEFI. All of that is depending on you. Also, you need to make sure you've completed your activation. You guys remember the time where we saw that if you can either put your license key or you say that you don't yet have you don't yet have a product key. So you have like 30 days of grace period where you can use all complete features of the Windows operating system. Where's the noise coming from? It's fine. So you can use the operating system with its complete features for 30 days, and then you can use the operating system for 30 days. And after that is done, you then need to put in a license, like you have to purchase the Windows operating system. I don't want to talk about things that will lead to legal pursuits here, but just know that you need to purchase the Windows operating system to enjoy maximal utilization. Failure to activate the operating system immediately after installation, you're going to lose access to some features. So some of these features will be disabled. A lot of warning messages will be shown, and then your Windows might even shut down. Now, you also have to make sure that you configure Windows Update. With respect to the network that you're connected to, that is with if the network is a metered connection or an unmetered connection. When I say metered and unmetered connection, do you know what that means? Metered connection is an internet package which is limited. It is a certain amount of data connection that you can use. After that is done, your internet is over. An unmetered connection is one that does not have any limit. You can use as much as you want without being bothered about the internet finishing. That's the difference between metered and unmetered connection. So if your Wi-Fi or if your Wi-Fi network is set to operate on metered connection, if your Wi-Fi is set to metered connection, that means the Wi-Fi network has data that can expire, it can finish, okay? But if it's that it is unmetered, it is set to unmetered, that means the Wi-Fi network has data or internet connection that cannot finish. So according to the type of Wi-Fi connection that you have, you should also configure your Windows Update to always be getting the updates frequently within the time for a particular time frame, like maybe checking for updates every day, every week, or even monthly. All of those are dependent on you. You should also configure, as we say, we configure Windows Update. You should also look at security, turning on your antivirus, protecting yourself from ransomware, and other things that you should do. In the user environment, you should configure your start menu, the taskbar, by dragging and dropping the most recently the apps that you're going to be using a lot. You should put them on your, or maybe on your start menu on your taskbar, or even on the desktop. Then you install the applications or the softwares that you had prepared before installation. You guys remember, right? We said before installation, you can prepare the hardware, your hardware and the software. So you have to then install them on your computer. You should also sign into your Microsoft account and set up Cortana. What is Cortana? Cortana is a Windows voice assistant service. The way you say, hey Google, the way you say, hey Siri, you have Cortana on Windows. Let's just say, hey Google. Yeah, you see, right? Google actually pops up here and it asks me to do whatever it is that I want to do. So you say, hey Google, and yeah, everything shows up here on the screen. So that being said, we proceed to accessibility. This is simply where you turn on other, you can modify other features within your PC, like the text size, the visual effects, the speed of your mouse and the cursor, the text cursor, and the other additional features. So to complete documentation. So when you're done documenting, when you're done with installing the operating system, generally, if it's in a company setting, you need to keep track of the make and model of every computer that you're using, the purchase date of the computers alongside the warranty and the vendor, the person who sold it to you. You put down the name of the operating system that you installed on that computer, the product key, and the apps that you installed on the computer. Those are the tasks of a PC technician and the things that you're supposed to do when you install the Windows operating system. So the next thing you have to do here is to configure the boot order As we summarize the ending of this slide, we talked about how you configure the boot order, activating Windows, how you configure Windows Update, also configure anti-malware or ransomware, configure the environment and install applications, then conclude by saying how you complete the documentation of the things that have been done. The things that you're going to do within the labs are going to be how to prepare a disk for installation and install a workstation image using PXE. So pre-execution environment, pre-boot execution environment. Those are the things that you're going to do. I have one question for you people. I have few questions for you people, sorry. The first is, what is a repair installation? When can you use an upgrade installation? And how is Windows updated after installation? The first two questions will go to Cynthia, and the last question goes to Mazule. The first two questions. Is Cynthia in this class? Right. While she's sorting out whatever issue she has, Mazule, let's go ahead and answer this, please. When do you need a repair installation? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can get you. Okay, I think we did the repair installation when, like, you want to install the whole operating system anew.
A couple of questions that we're going to. Yes. Sorry. Okay, guys. We are talking about the various questions. We're trying to look at these various questions that will help us understand the things that we just discussed in the current chapter. So we've talked about a repair installation, upgrade installation, and the Windows update in general. So the various questions that are here, we are going to split it among ourselves. The first question goes to Mazule, the second goes to Nafisa. No, the third goes to Nafisa, and the second goes to Cynthia. Cynthia, prepare yourself, please. Okay, so what is a repair installation? Mazule, please, let's hear from you.
Okay, so I think a repair installation is like installing the whole operating system like newly to the computer. But maybe I did not get the definition very well.
Is kind of glitching, so okay, we have set that aside as a take home or assignment, something that you need to cover when you're in a safe space, or you feel better, or you feel when you've rested. Sorry, we have covered a lot already. We have already covered a lot, and we are now moving at 6.3. We're left with two submodules: cloud computing and virtualization. We had four submodules in chapter 6 to cover. There were Windows pre-installation, Windows installation, cloud computing, and virtualization. We are done with pre-installation and Windows installation. We are now moving to cloud computing, and after which we are going to look at virtualization. So let's take this time to rest. We are already mid-class. We are mid-class. Let's take this time to rest, discuss our worries, and then see how we're going to pick up in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, we are going to be continuing from cloud computing. Is that fine, guys? All right. So while I do, okay. That's the time that we all have to go and rest. Take some air, cup of tea, if possible. Relax. Think about questions. If you even have them now, you can ask them. And yeah, basically, let's rest. Okay, so I would like to take your questions just before we continue. If you have questions, you can ask them, and we're going to continue from there.
I have just one question.
Sure, go ahead.
One small question. I did not get the full meaning of WinPE.
Windows pre-installation environment.
Right.
And as I define it, do you know the definition of Windows WinPE? Do you know what it does, what it is?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What does it do? What does it do?
It's an interface that behaves like that, like it's just a user interface that is going to behave a way when you install your operating system. Like it just gives you a preview of what you're going to supply on when you install your operating system. Just like your user interface.
That gives you the features which you need to install your operating system. Yeah. It loads that operating system, but it gives you just only the features that you need to install the actual operating system which you're going to use. That's smart. That's good. Any other question? Is Nabila in this class? I'm asking again.
Yes, I'm around.
Okay, you're around. What shows that you're around? We're expecting
Because
questions.
I'm
We're expecting questions from you.
okay.
Ask questions, any question, so long as it's related to the topic of today. Well, it must not be related, but if it's related to IT, I'm open to answer any question.
Okay, is it possible to install an antivirus on your own without
Without?
meeting a technician?
Why
on
not?
IT?
An antivirus is a software like any other. Why would you need a technician, an IT technician to install it for you?
I was just asking because that's what we usually do. So I was asking if it's possible to do it on my own.
Yes, very much. It's very possible. You can go to the internet, download it on your own, pay for it on your own, get the product key, bring it, install it on your own. All of that. There is YouTube, which has answers to almost everything. You could literally go on YouTube and search how to die, and you will see how to die. So that's just an example. That's just a vague example of the things that you can do with the power of YouTube and the internet in general. So yeah, just have that in mind. And as we work on getting things done, have it in mind that a software, it can be installed by anybody. You just need to know what you're doing. And knowing what you're doing means that you do research about it first. Don't just go ahead and be installing anyhow. You can.
Okay. Thank you.
Experience is because the person might have more experience than you, but there is no extra skill there. You can go to YouTube, learn about it, follow tutorials, and you're done. So are we ready to start with cloud computing, or do we still need to clarify our minds on some aspects again?
No.
Okay. Just so you know, we are on slide number. Pardon? Who said something?
I just wanted to come back on the question you asked Nazule. I realized that me too. I didn't have the clear definition of repair installation.
Okay, yeah. Should we go back there?
Just the definition.
Okay. The definition of a repair installation. A repair installation is that type of Windows installation that simply installs a new build of an OS of OS files on top of the existing one in an attempt to repair damaged ones or fix a system that is faulty. That is the goal. But it's simply installing an operating system on top of the existing one with no loss of data, just in order to replace files that are being faulty. System files, actually. So there's something I needed to say earlier. It was about the breakdown of files inside a computer. There are system files and there are user files. The data that is personal to you are user files or user data. The system files you should have little or no access to unless you know what you're doing. Well, on computers you have access to. On smartphones, you almost don't have access to them. You need to root your phone and get super user access. But then on computers, I think you should basically have access to these features. But then it is not advised for you to play around with them if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so.
Okay, just to repair, no upgrade.
Yeah, when you repair, you don't upgrade. You repair with the operating system that you're using. If you're having Windows 10 and then Windows 10 and then some of your files are missing or it is beginning to act somehow, you need to use, if you want to repair, you bring the same image of the Windows 10 operating system and you install it there. It is going to simply repair the current OS and the damaged files of the OS. And that's it. That's how you do a repair installation.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So how is Windows updated after installation? How is Windows updated after installation?
How is it?
Yes. How do you install Windows? How do you update Windows after you're done installing it?
You make an upgrade installation.
An upgrade installation.
Yes.
No, you simply have to go to the settings and configure the updating feature of Windows. Like Windows Update is a feature that can constantly be scanning to see if there's a new version or a new feature, new update of the current build that you're using, which is available, and it automatically downloads and installs it without even asking for your opinion. You can set that up in the settings application of your Windows computer. Windows Update. Do you guys want to see? Do you want to see?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let the settings app open up. Okay. So that's what I'm going to share. I want to believe that you can see this screen. You can see the settings screen, right? You see, I think if you look right here, you will see if you look right here, you should see Windows Update. They say last updated how long ago? How long, when was the last, when did it check last?
8 hours ago.
8 hours ago. So you can configure Windows Update either at the bottom here. You can configure Windows Update at the bottom here, or you click on it at the top here. If you do any of those, it's going to give you access to the Windows Update page. So I'm just going to clear all of these drawings and then actually click on either Windows Update here. Remember, under Windows Update here, or this one up here. It's going to take me to the same place. It's going to take me to the same place. I will take Windows Update up here, and it's going to open the Windows Update page. As you can see, it says that I am up to date. The last time it checked, the last time this computer checked to see if I'm up to date is at 12:40. So you can configure that to be done all the time, to be automatically getting updated. You can see, right? They say get the latest update as soon as they are available. You tick it on, so it does not necessarily ask for your opinion. It just does it every time the update is available. So you can also choose, you can also decide to choose to pause the update for a certain number of time. You can see the update history. Update history is a list that is going to show you all the number of updates that you have gotten within a specific period of time. And then there are other advanced features like optional features, active as, and other update settings, such as configuring how often do you want Windows to be checking your updates and more. That's simply the Windows Update feature or the Windows Update utility in the Windows 10 or in the Windows 11 operating system. So as you can see, I am using Windows 11. Do you guys understand? Cynthia.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear when we said that we need to use our laptops to join the class? Are you joining from your laptop?
No, from my phone.
Why?
Because I didn't succeed to get the link from the WhatsApp to join. In fact, I wasn't able to download WhatsApp in the computer. It was disturbing. So
As an IT personnel, where can you see the Windows version? There are three ways to see your Windows version. Okay. Yes, there are three ways to see the Windows version. Let's see here on system. System, if you go to system, scroll right to the bottom, you will see here about. I believe you can see about.
Yes, sir.
If you see about, when you click on about, it is going to show you information about your Windows version. So what does it say? It says, I am using, this is my device name, my processor, the amount of RAM, the number of RAM that I have, my system type. And then you see here, this is my Windows. This is the edition of Windows that I'm using. Windows 11 Education. I told you it is one that is in between Pro and Home version. I'm using Windows 11 Education, and the version is 22H, but it is Windows 11. 22H is just a particular build. Like when a build comes with an update and an upgrade or an update, it just shows up here as the build with a specific build number. Microsoft has attached a build number to it. It's just so that it should help you to identify these updates better. So that's one of the ways that you can see your version, your Windows update, one of the ways you can see your Windows version. The other way is by pressing Windows key plus R. When you press Windows key plus R, do you see the screen that just popped up? When you press Windows key plus R, and then oh God. If I do Windows key plus R, and then I type there, WinVer, I think it's WinVer, yes, and I do OK. this is what happens. This thing that you see right here pops up. Do you see this? This is what popped up. The reason why you're not seeing it immediately is because I'm using two screens. I'm using my laptop is here and the other monitor is the other way. So I'm sharing from there. That's why this is what when you do WinVer, this pops up. So if you guys do it on your computer, you press Windows key, the Windows key, the key that has squares. So Windows plus Windows plus R. That's the code. So don't worry, we are going to do it so that we can see on you guys on your screen. This product is licensed under the terms of Microsoft to me. This is my email. The product is licensed to me. There is another way which you can also do this. It is by opening the command prompt. There is a software in Microsoft which is called command prompt, CMD. Okay, CMD. It simulates a user, it simulates a command line interface. Sorry. Yes. So command, just give me a minute. I'm trying to move this thing so that I could drag. Okay. I believe you guys can see this, you can see it, right? Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think if you also type WinVer here, you should see, yeah, the same thing happens. When you type WinVer in the command line, this same thing happens. Do you guys see? There is a third and last way. From the look of things, we are going to end this class here and then we're going to see another day in the week to do the last two subtopics. So another way that you can manage to know the Windows version that you're using on your computer is to open the command prompt, CMD. If you press the Windows, Nabila, the reason I asked you guys to join with your computer is so that when you get this kind of scenarios, you can actually test them also before it skips your mind. So just enable to the next class. Please don't afford to attend the next class without your laptop. Just do everything possible before time. So have your laptop. I hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to open the command prompt again. And I just want you guys to see what happens when. Another way for you to know. Okay. Another way for you to know your Windows version is by typing this command, system. That's the command. When you type this command, what does it say? What does the command say, guys?
System info.
System info, no space, small letters. If you do enter, it's going to take time. What is it saying? It's loading information. And after some seconds, you're going to get all of those details displayed to you. You get all of these details. I don't know if you guys can see, but I can see the name of the host. What is the name of the host? What is the name of the operating system? The version of the operating system, and a lot more. In fact, every single detail of your computer is found on this place, on this interface. So when you do, yeah, you can even see it's registered to my email. This Windows is registered to my email. And yeah, there are a lot more other features that are available, or a lot more how will I say, information that you can find on this interface. As soon as you type Windows, as soon as you type system info. So yeah, you can even see the amount of RAM that you have, 10,119 megabytes. That is equivalent to 10 gigabytes of RAM. You can see that 2,896 megabytes available. So I have about 3 gigabytes of RAM still left, that is left unused. So currently I am using 7 gigabytes of RAM, 7 and more. There is a virtual memory. Virtual memory is that amount of RAM that is being deduced from your hard drive. What is virtual memory? Virtual memory is actually that scenario where your computer makes your hard drive to start acting as if it was RAM. So if your RAM is finishing up, but your computer still operates, but it's operating slowly, it is because your computer is using your virtual memory. You could actually increase that. Right now I have 16,000, which is equivalent to 16 gigabytes of virtual memory or 16 gigabytes of virtual RAM, which I could also I could increase, as I said, and it's going to increase my performance. If I am using an SSD, not a solid state drive, not a hard disk drive, the speed is going to increase considerably. I could assign some amount of gigabytes and my machine will be really, really fast. You can see right now that out of the 16,000, 10 gigabytes is in use and then 5 gigabytes is available. So this means that this computer in total is using 7 plus 10 gigabytes. That is about 17 gigabytes of RAM. So as I'm hosting this meeting, all the things that I am running is using up 17 gigabytes of RAM. Isn't that crazy? You also get information about the network interface cards, your computer's IP address. This is the IP address of my computer right now. This is my IP address. Yeah, this is a DHCP server, sorry. And this is my IP address because I'm connected using the wireless interface. So this is the DHCP address, which means it is the address of my router. This is the address of my Wi-Fi router. And then this is my IP address. We're going to look at IP address. Don't worry about that. We're going to look at that. So basically, those are all the information that you can get by typing system info. There are a lot of other commands that if you want to really know, if you want to be playing around with things, you could be using as well. There is also another one that says IP config that is going to show you information about your IP configuration. The IP config, the IP address of your computer. You can see this is my IP address, same as what we saw the other time. My IP version 4 IP address. So that being said, guys, I think we've come to the end of this session. So if you guys have any question or things that you want us to discuss again, or something specific that you want me to show you, you can just bring it up so we see how to go through it before calling it a day.
Please, I have a question not really related to the class, but but it's related to computer.
Okay, go ahead. I guess we're going to learn.
Please, is it possible that a computer doesn't have the search bar that is what is always beside the Windows key, the Windows button? I don't know, like on the monitor of a computer.
Every computer have it, but it might just be disabled. You can disable it. You can hide it.
And please, how is it possible to enable it?
You right-click on your taskbar. You right-click on the taskbar. If you right-click on your taskbar, you're going to see taskbar settings. And then you're going to now see options about your search. Actually, right-click on the Windows icon, the start menu. If you right-click on the start menu, yes. If you right click on the start menu, you're going to see there's an option that says search. If you click on the search, you'll be able to do some settings about the taskbar. You can hide the task, you can hide the search bar, you can and a lot more other features. So guys, is that all? Have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So we're going to call it here a day. We should arrange a session, we shall arrange a session within the week and see how to complete the next 2 sub-modules of this session, which is cloud computing and virtualization. It is actually going to be very interesting since we'll be taking it when our brains are still fresh and we'll be assimilating a lot of new information. So that being said, it was nice having you all around. I think we've come to the end of the session once again. And if you have any other question, don't hesitate to bring it up so that we can see how to solve them. I'm stopping the recording.